So, you're thinking about starting an Etsy shop, or perhaps you have one already, but you found yourself wondering, and maybe not for the first time, is Etsy just too saturated now? Maybe sales are so slow that for the work that you're putting in, it just doesn't feel worth it anymore and you're thinking of quitting. If that's the case, keep watching, because in this video, I'm going to share some things that I hope will help you feel a little bit more encouraged by the whole Etsy shebang, as well as some actionable tips that you can focus on right now to try and jumpstart your shop. Hey everyone, I'm Kim, this is the Eco Tree, and here I talk about all things permaculture, sustainable living, and of course, soulful business, which is what today's topic is all about. Please excuse my dog. Now, if you saw in my last video on this topic, you'll have seen me share some pros and cons of selling on Etsy. And right at the top of my cons list was just how saturated Etsy was as a platform. And I stand by that, but I did want to come on here today and try and balance that out with some positives and perhaps offer some encouragement and some good reasons why we can still get selling on Etsy right now. So if you've been feeling a little bit demotivated lately and would like some actionable tips, so for things that you can do to get seen and stand out, then keep watching. Because let's be honest, it's a bit difficult to run a soulful business when you're spending your whole time tearing your hair out because nothing you're doing is working and you can't get seen. So okay then, let's get started. Even though Etsy is a pretty packed platform, there are a few sellers joining now who are making a really good income and just taking off on the platform. How are they doing it? Well, I went onto Etsy and I did some looking around and some research. I low-key stalked some people, but it was in the name of research, so it's all good. And I noticed that they all seem to have a few things in common, so I thought I would break them down and share them with you so that you could do it too. Okay, the first thing, and you've probably almost definitely heard of this before, they have niched down. They understand their niche and they cater to those people and those people alone. And I'm saying niche, not niche. I'm not going to get into what is right and what's wrong. It just doesn't have a T in it. But when I say niche, I mean niche. I mean niche. However you say it, they know who they are talking to, and they are talking to those people. They are not casting out a huge net and trying to get in as many people as possible. They have got a particular customer in mind and they are catering to them. If you haven't already figured out what your niche is, that is the first thing to do. How long has that been doing that for? Let's get back to the video. Niche. The next one, and you've heard me talk about this before, SEO. They've invested a lot of time, energy, and research into SEO, which I realise you've probably heard that to death, so much so that it now no longer means anything. Opening an Etsy shop isn't enough to get you seen. It just means that you have an Etsy shop, but people still won't find you, they won't see you, nada. Your SEO, your keywords, your title, your description, your tags, everything goes towards your SEO, and it basically puts you in the crowd so that people can find you in the first place. Just know that when it comes to being found on Etsy, SEO is very important. Granted, it's not the only thing that's going to get you found and seen, but it's one of the most important ones, so don't skip it, otherwise I promise you, you're just going to hear crickets. The next thing they all had in common was excellent photos, and this is another one that you'll hear me banging on about, and I'm going to keep on banging on about it until it stops being an important part of Etsy. I've mentioned the stat about 90% of buyers on Etsy consider photographs to be like the most important thing that they focus on when thinking about buying on Etsy. And it's not just to tell whether or not they like the thing they're buying. People, whether they realise they're doing it or not, will use the photographs to gauge the trustworthiness of the shop. Case in point, me as a buyer, I went onto Etsy looking for something and I found a shop. The item was lovely, but it had one photograph, and that was enough for me not to buy from them, because my immediate thought was, why only one photograph? You have the option to post 10 photographs and a short video. Why only one photograph? So it's not even just about the quality of the photographs, it's how many you've got and also what you put in those photographs. If it's just 10 photographs of various different angles of the same thing, that's not going to do as well as, say, 10 photographs of the different angles, a close-up, showing the dimensions. And I said this in a course that I've done, which I'll link to in the description if anybody's interested. Photographs do so much more than just show a customer how something looks. You now have to put a lot of information in the photographs because many buyers, unfortunately, won't read the descriptions. They will get all of their information from your photographs. Photographs are very important. Please do not overlook this. And again, I've said this before, but this bears repeating. If good SEO gets you in the crowd, good photographs will help you stand out. Those two things combined can be golden. Make them a part of your skill set and you will fly, or something. Okay, and the last one, and this is one I haven't spoken about before, it's value. Basically, these new sellers that are taking off, they make items that customers actually want. Now, this topic doesn't get enough airtime, so I'm just going to focus on it for a little bit. You can be doing everything right. You could be making the beautifully crafted, top quality product. You could have the best SEO and just magazine quality photographs. But if nobody wants your item, then they're not going to buy it. And that's a bitter pill for creators to swallow. And I've been there. I have made things that I have loved and I have felt so passionate about, and I've posted them and I've taken a deep breath and face dived off a cliff. They tanked. Really tanked. I should have worn my jumper actually. I made a jumper. I love it. And I put it up and nobody liked it. But I did. But that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough value for my customers who didn't share my enthusiasm. I'm going to have to wear it next time. But it's true. As a creative looking to make money from their work, one of the hardest skills that you're going to have to learn is how to strike the balance between making products that you want to make and making products that your customers want to buy. And the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle there. Now, obviously, there are a lot of other things that successful sellers do. Of all of the examples that I searched for on Etsy, these 4 things seem to be foundation blocks. The 4 foundations being niche, SEO, photos, and value. But it is something that we can take heart from. If a relative newcomer to Etsy can start now or within the last year or so and take off, there's nothing to say that you can't do, right? Just so long as you can accept that it is going to take work, it is going to take time. Sorry to interrupt, but I promise this will be quick. If you're enjoying this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe because that really helps this video get out to more people on YouTube. A little thumbs up goes a long way, so thank you very much, folks. All right, back to my serious face. Okay, so we've gone over how newcomers to Etsy are getting traction and making successful businesses, and I hope that's brought a little comfort to you and a little hope. And another important factor are the stats relating to customer buyer ratio. Now, I can't find any solid figures for 2020 yet, but as at the end of 2019, there were about 2.5 million sellers, which sounds a lot. And obviously we're here in 2021, so you can pretty much guarantee that that's now even higher. But when you compare that with the amount of buyers on Etsy, as of the end of 2019, the amount of people who bought something on Etsy was 4.7 million. If anybody knows of the more recent stats for 2020, chuck them in the comments because I'm sure there'll be lots of people who would be really grateful to hear them. But the reason I add them, the 2019 ones, is simply to show that where there is saturation, there's also demand. And that shows us that the buyers are there. So it's not necessarily a case of Etsy being too saturated as us having more of a challenge now to be seen amongst our competition. And now hopefully you're starting to understand why good photographs are so important. And this also leads me to the last thing that I hope will perhaps make you feel a little bit more encouraged about Etsy, and that is, in the years that I have been on Etsy, I have never known them to put so much money and energy into advertising the platform and encouraging more buyers to it. Never. And when I first started, back when I first started, if someone asked me what I did and I said I have an Etsy shop, I would have to spend at least 5 minutes explaining to them what Etsy was because they'd never heard of it before. And in the end, it got to the point where I just stopped mentioning Etsy altogether and just said that I had an online shop because it just took too long. Fast forward to now, if I tell somebody that I have an Etsy shop, they automatically know what I'm talking about because Etsy is pretty much a household name now. Even if someone hasn't bought anything from Etsy, they'll have heard of it. And that is to our advantage because it means that people know Etsy and trust it. And for us as buyers, that is a good thing. Not to mention that Etsy are continuously ploughing in money to advertise the platform. It should be said that this is probably because their biggest competition is Amazon. And this is where some of their policies that they've brought in get a little bit meh. Because they want to be up there and play with the big boys. Yes, it's had a bit of a fallout for us sellers. Again, watch my other video because I don't want to get angry again. But we do also benefit from it, and it would be remiss of me not to mention that. And one of that, and the biggest part of that is just the fact that it has taken it from down here in people's consciousness to up there. Okay then, so to recap, we know that 1, it's still possible to be a brand new seller on Etsy and to be able to make something of it, and that's a good thing. 2, we know that the buyers are there, it's just a case of getting them to see us. And that 3, Etsy is committed to marketing the platform and therefore bringing even more buyers to us, and that can only be a good thing too. So before you think of quitting Etsy or not getting started altogether, take heart. Yes, it is a saturated marketplace. There is no way around that. Yes, you can start a shop and very quickly get disheartened at how your items seem to disappear into a sea of items that are similar to yours. But with at least 3 times as many buyers as there are sellers on there, there really is enough for everyone. And you just need to put your marketing hat on and get creative. Keep showing up. Keep improving your skill set and don't forget your SEO and photographs. All right, thanks for watching, loves, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like these, and until next time, bye-bye.